Yo, what up, my people? It's your boy Ness.
Hey, yo, Ness.
Welcome to my new show, Friends of the Program. Let's get it cracking. Yo, before we start, my wife brought it up to me, and she was like, yo, maybe you should do a show by yourself. Let people know who you really are. So that's why we're here. My journey's been crazy. I'm 49 years old, right? And I lived through a lot of different decades. And this culture that we've built, I've lived it. So it was important for me to come on here so that you guys could see what I'm doing and what I've done. Again, my name is Ness.
Hey, yo, Ness.
I was born in El Salvador, Central America. I came here when I was 3 years old, right? It was a big difference. It was a big difference coming from there to here. But once I got here, everything was so dope. Freeways, the cars, the buildings, something I didn't see over there. Even as a little kid, something I didn't, it was totally different. Growing up, we grew up in LA. My brother, my family, my brother, I had a little brother. Shout out to my brother. You know what we did. Growing up in LA, it was all about playing outside, BMX riding, just, basketball, football, whatever we could get our hands on. It wasn't like it is now. Like, we could go out in the streets and then just come home when it's dark and when mom calls you in. But my love for this culture, right, didn't start till 1984. I remember walking down to the neighborhood shoe store, little department store, and I walk in there, and I see all the tracksuits, the Fila, the Adidas, the Puma. It was just dope. And I think that was the first time that I fell in love with what we call this hip hop culture, this music culture. And I remember going in there and looking at the gear and just saying, "Damn, that's dope," because it wasn't something that we were accustomed to. We didn't wear stuff like that. It was too expensive, so it was just different, and it was dope to me. And then went to the shoe wall and saw all the different Puma. The Puma suedes with the fat laces, the Puma Clydes, the Adidas. And, that's what really, started this journey for me. And I remember not wanting to play because I wanted to go down to the store and see if they had anything new. And every single time that I went, there was something in there that just caught my eye, and it just popped in my brain, and it just stayed in there. What's crazy too is that back in the day, no social media, none of that. Our weekend trips were to the swap meet. Indoor swap meet, outdoors, whatever. But we couldn't do it if we didn't have our chores done. So we needed to have our chores done on Saturday to be able to have this family trip on Sunday. And I remember always wanting to do it because I wanted to see what was out there. On Sunday, I wanted to see what was out there. And in 85, I remember yesterday, it was yesterday. I remember did our chores Saturday. We we got our allowance. I'm 11 years old, and we go to an indoor swap meet, and I see this shoe right here for the first time, the Jordan 1 Bread. And I asked my pops, I'm like, can I get those? And he said, go ask your mother. If she says okay, I'll get them for you. And I still remember they were $65. $65, man. And at the time, we're used to buying, those karate shoes, right? The $5 joints. So I already knew the answer was going to be no, but I took my chance, and the answer was no. So I didn't get them. So I put it in my brain again, like one day I'm gonna have them. But what it did is it started my love for footwear and sneakers, especially the colors matching to whatever outfit you got. Moving forward, this was like in 85, moving forward to around 86. And another thing, going back to here, I remember my cousin Will, shout out to my cousin. He's a couple years older than me. And he tells me about this movie, right? And I'm telling, because I'm explaining to him like these outfits that I saw at the store, the shoes and everything. And he tells me about this movie. And the movie is Beat Street, right? And my parents can't take us, so we end up having our grandma take us. Our grandma takes us to go watch this movie. My cousin was in Echo Park. We go watch the movie there, and I think it was my cousin, my brother, myself, and our grandma. And I still remember, we sat in the balcony and just watching that movie, the music, the fashion, just the footwear, everything. It just put that other thing in my brain where I'm like, damn, this is dope. And it started creating this little culture that I started liking. So now instead of, after school, playing marbles or playing football or being on your bike, we wanted to go out and break dance, right? We got a little boom box, listening to jam on it, listening to all this music that's out at the time that we can learn how to break dance to. So I'm trying to be a b-boy, right? And I still remember all of this, and I think that's the important part, is that you take all these little things from everywhere, and then you build the person that you are. And I'm so happy that I grew up during this time, because I was able to see all of that. Fast forward, 86, 87, I'm already a little bit bigger, a little bit older, and we get the taste of gang life, street life. Me and my brother are outside playing. We're playing baseball at the time, and we had a neighbor who my father, rest in peace, he had already warned me about him. He said, look, be cool with him, but just know he's up to no good. And but whatever, we're cool with him, and we're we're playing baseball, me and my brother. He's out there just, whatever, just watching us, just hanging out. And a little bit, he's like, yo, let me hit the ball. Let me borrow that bat. So I let him borrow the bat. And within 10 minutes, this dude is in a fight with two other dudes using the bat. And that gave us like our first real taste of like shit can happen in the streets. So, we go home, we tell our parents, and they get scared, right? Right away, they're like, fuck, like, what are we gonna do? My dad, my mom, both are entrepreneurs, so wherever they went, they were gonna figure it out. So my parents end up buying a house up here in Palmdale. And let me tell you, man, like coming from LA at the time, late 80s, it was like a culture shock. Like nobody looked like me. There was no people walking the streets. There was a store here, gas station there. It was just crazy. Like it was so different. And I hated it. I fucking hated it. But I knew why they were doing it, and they were just afraid that, I was going to end up being like that dude. And then my brother was going to want to be like me, right? So they had to make the move. They signed me up, to school, and everybody looks different. And I'm like, damn. Like I'm so used to everybody looking like me. And they're looking at me kind of crazy too. Like, damn, this fool, does he belong here? Does he not? And I was just like, man, I'm hating life at the time, right? But I said, fuck it. Like, I know why my parents are doing it. We're at the market one day, and I asked my mom to buy me some candy, right? And this is another piece of like those little nuggets that you just pick up, and when you're building your who you are. She buys these candies for me, and I go to school, and I'm like, damn, I gotta make friends. I gotta, And it was crazy because the first friend that I ever had in junior high, like moving up here to Palmdale, was a black dude, this kid named Trayvon. And I think, like, I was like, oh, yo, he's the closest thing to looking like me, and I think he thought the same thing. So we connected. But this candy connected me to everybody at the school. And it also put another little thing in my brain about business. I took the candy to school, and I was like, all right, yo, let me give you a candy. Boom. Let me give you a candy. Whoever I thought needed one. And before you know it, a couple days go by, and they're like, yo, do you have any more of these candies? And I'm like, I'm like, okay, let me think about this. Where'd you get these candies at? I was like, oh, I ain't gonna tell them. But you know what? I'll bring some more like in a couple days. Just give me a couple days. But they're gonna be a quarter. So told my mom to take me to the store. We buy a big bag of these candies. Go back to school, and now I'm the plug. Like, I got these candies, right? And it was dope too, because these candies, it was a candy and then it was gum. So it was like 2 in 1. So this big bag of candy I'm selling at school, right, for a quarter. Or I was like, you know what, let me think about something else. They're a quarter each, or I'm going to do 5 for $1, right? So now they knew. Like, they go home, they get their money. The next day they come, and now I'm their plug. Like, I got this candy for them. You know, and so I started meeting people that way. Like, oh, yeah, you got to go to him for the candy. Joined the basketball team. You know, so now, like, I'm known at the school. Like, he's on the basketball team, and he's got this candy. Like, everybody wants this candy. So now, you know, I start meeting different people. And even to this day, I, you know, some of the people from junior high I still talk to. So life was cool. Like, I wasn't tripping anymore. I didn't want to go back to LA. I was fine. Late 80s, early 90s, high school years, played basketball, did all that, you know. But now I have a sense of, like, a little bit of business, you know, fashion, footwear, you know. So all these little things that I've been learning throughout the years, I got them in my brain now. One summer out here, you know, like, they started building a bunch of homes out here. And I couldn't sell candy anymore, right? So I'm thinking, like, damn, what am I going to do to make money, extra money, you know, since I can't be selling this candy at school. Ain't nobody there. So I take a walk one day, and I notice, you know, all these job sites, you know, these companies building homes. There's all these cans, aluminum cans. So I'm like, let me get a bag. So I took off. You know, I told my mom, I said, look, I'm going to go for a walk. I'll be back in about 2 hours. Come back with a bag full of aluminum cans, right? And I was like, okay, cool, shit, I'm going to do this again tomorrow. So tomorrow I do it again, same thing. The next day I do the same thing. By the end of the week, I have my mom's take me to the place to go drop them off, you know, and I'm making $50, $60. And I'm like, cool. The week after, I'm like, I'm going to expand. I'm going to start earlier, come home later. I'm going to just this job site. Before you know it, I'm making over $100 a week just collecting cans, right, in the summer. And I'm like, all right, cool. That allowed me, again, to kind of pivot when in business, you know, like, I couldn't sell candy anymore because obviously we're on vacation. So I had to figure out a new way to make money. And then I found it. And I think in business, it's always about that. It's always about finding that opportunity, you know, and be able to take it and then just run with it. And don't be afraid. Like, I wasn't afraid to tell people I collect cans. I was making money. I was good, you know. That was all into my 90s, you know, like mid-90s. I graduated high school, and my parents wanted me to go to college. So I went to the local, you know, JC, right? And my boy Freddie, shout out to Freddie, I was like, yo, like, let's take some of the same classes, bro, so that, like, I don't know, this is going to be different. Like, I don't even want to go to school, but my parents want me to. Our first class is basketball. We take a basketball class in college, right? 8 o'clock in the morning. Sorry about that. I think I took anatomy. I don't know why. And some other fucking class. I don't know. But we would just go to basketball and hang out in the cafeteria for like 3, 4 hours, go to lunch, and then go home. Right? And then one day, one of our friends, she shows up and she's like, we're in the cafeteria, and she's like, yo, is Freddie here? And I'm like, nah, he didn't come to school today. I didn't see him at basketball class. And she's like, oh, it's because I got this application for him. Because my boyfriend works at this company, and they're hiring a gang of people over there. They're growing, and I'm like, oh, shit, I'm looking for a job. So she gives me the application. I fill it out, give it back to her. And again, opportunity. Like, it wasn't my fault that my boy wasn't there. I needed a job, so it was perfect timing. You know, a few days later, they call me, going for an interview. I get hired. So now I'm like, cool, damn, I got a job. So now I can't go hoop with my boy, like after college, right? I can't hang out with him because I got a job. So I tell him, I'm like, yo, they're hiring. And I take him an application. He gets hired like 3 weeks later. And then I told him sometime after, I said, you know what? That first application was supposed to be for you, but I took it because you weren't there. And again, like getting a full-time job, and it wasn't something that I could say like, yo, this is dope. Like, this is dope to me. No, but I needed a job. My mom was on me. You know, like, you need to get a job. You're older. I can't continue to, we can't continue to just not have you work. So I felt good, just having a full-time job. So I said, forget college, forget this basketball class. I'm gonna start working full-time. And I tell people, even my kids, I'm like, school's not for everybody. It wasn't for me. But what I've learned, especially at this job that I got, I've learned so many things. And I've been able to, climb that ladder, and I don't feel bad not going to college, because it's not for everybody. By the way, I'm still there. Shout out, national medal stampings. Like, I'm still there, 20-something years in, So, yeah, it was another piece that was put in my brain. Like, now I know I have to be on time. They told me to be there. And, I was working like 3:30 in the afternoon to like 1:30 in the morning. I know I got to be there at 3:30. I got to be there at, 3:15 just to make sure. And, little by little working there, I just started, climbing that ladder. But it did something for me. It said, like, when you work for other people, you have to be super responsible. You got to do your job to the best of your ability, and you got to be on time. And you can't be missing work. You want to go party tonight? No problem. Tomorrow you're going to be at work. And I think my parents are the ones that kind of instilled that into me. So from the mid-90s to like the mid-2000s, that's all I was thinking. Like, let me just work. Let me just work. Sometime in in the 2000s. I had a fight at the house. You know, we're gonna watch a fight. Me and my boys, me and my boy Freddie, and one of our other homies. And I invited some girls to come over. And they come over, watch the fight, we hang out. And one of the girls calls me. She's like, "Hey, can I talk to you outside?" I'm like, "Cool." My girl Veronica, shout out. She's like, "Hey, who's your boy?" And I'm like, "Oh, is it this one?" And she's like, "No, the one with the baby." I'm like, "Oh, that's my boy Freddie." She's like, "Can you hook me up?" I'm like, "Shit, yeah, I could hook you up." I hook her up, right? There's a reason why I'm telling you guys this, because I fucking hooked her up. Fast forward, I don't know, maybe 5, 6, 7, 8 years after. They're already married, they got kids, and they invite me to one of their games, their softball games. And my boy Freddie's like, "Hey, yo, there's this chick, bro. Like, maybe I think you'll like her. Like, she's kind of dope. She's on the team. You should come on and watch." So I'm like, "All right, cool." So I go to this game, and I go to this game, right? And I'm like, "Oh, yeah, she is kind of cute," right? We go eat after, and then I pull my girl Veronica over, and I'm like, "Yo, hook me up with your girl." And she's like, "Hell no." She's like, "I already fucking know you." Hell to the no. I'm like, "Are you serious right now? Like, are you fucking serious right now? Like, I hooked your ass up, right?" She didn't do it. All right, cool. I go to another game. They play. We go get some pizza, some beer. And I tell my boy, like, "Yo, I got to take off, bro. I got to go get some shaving cream," right? So I go to Walmart, and she follows me. She heard me say that I was going to go to the store, so she follows me. You know, I'm like, "What are you doing here?" We start talking, go to Starbucks. Before you know it, like, we're in our car just talking till like 6 in the morning. And that put another little nugget like inside of me, right? Like, when it comes to love. Before you know it, she's pregnant. We move out, we get an apartment, and I'm starting a new life, right? I'm still trying to do all this, right? But I know I have responsibilities, right? As a man, I'm like, I'm gonna take care of you. And so I'm working, I'm grinding, come home, hang out with them for a little bit, and then get to work on some of this stuff, right? The stuff that I love. And we do that. Like, we're doing that, and we're doing that. And I think it was like 2007, and I'm sitting there listening to Kanye's album. I think it was his third album. It's the one where he was wearing the shutter shades. And I was a big Chicago Bulls fan with Jordan, you know. So I kind of just blended both of them together. I'm sitting there on the computer designing. My wife is next to me. We're chilling at our apartment, and I create this graphic. And it's the Chicago Bulls logo with the shutter shades on. And it says Chicago's finest underneath. Boom. At the time, again, like, no social, no Instagram, none of this shit, right? So I put it up on like different websites, like the forums. And people are like, "Yo, that shit's dope," whatever. And I get hit up by Karma Loop. And my boy Blake, shout out to Blake. I'm gonna be doing, some name dropping. I feel like the game But, you know, a lot of these people played a lot, like an important part in my life. He hits me up and he's like, yo, I work for Karmaloop, and I like this graphic, bro, and I think you could do really good on our site. So we put it up on the site, and I have a dozen pieces printed. That's it. That's all I got at the time. The first day we put it up on Karmaloop, we sell 16. So I'm already in the hole. The next day we sell 12. The next day we sell 20. The next day we sell 8. Before you know it, I've sold over 100 of these things, right? And I'm like, fuck, I gotta, I gotta get these out. And that put another thing in my brain, like, fuck, there's a lot of places out there. You know, as long as I create dope merch, there's a lot of places out there that'll sell it. So I'm creating. And I tell my wife, I'm like, yeah, like I got all these designs and I'm putting these up. What do you think I should call it? And she's like, why don't you call it Freshness? I was like, oh, shit. That's it. And it's Freshness, like N-E-S. And I'm like, let's go. So Freshness was born, right? And I remember just sitting there like, damn, like people are actually buying my brand. Like now it's not just a random t-shirt. Now they want my brand. And we did that for a little bit. And then all of a sudden, here comes the emails from stores. Emails from stores in New York. Emails from store in LA. You know, Texas, in Japan, Australia. And I'm like, what the fuck? Like, they want my shit. And I'm feeling like, oh. And for some of you that know and some of you that don't know, like, that's like the best feeling in the world. It's dope to see celebrities. Trust me, like I've had celebrities wear my shit, but it's dope to hear just people want your stuff in their stores. So then that put another little thing in my brain. Like, I'm so used to dealing with direct to consumer. Now I'm dealing with a whole different beast, which is wholesale. And I had no idea. Like, I'm like, you know, I had no idea on some of the terms they use, like all this shit, right? But you just go with it. You learn as you go. And that's how we started, you know, selling Freshness to these stores. And keep in mind, I still got a full-time job. So I got a full-time job. I have a website that sells direct to consumer. I have an eBay store. And then now I got wholesale. And it's just me, right? So I get home from work. Got to hang out with my family. When it's time for them to go to bed, it's time for me to go to work on my shit. So I'm going to bed at 1, 2 o'clock in the morning. But the company's growing. Like, Karmaloop is selling like crazy, right? And wholesale, because they see my stuff on Karmaloop, they want my stuff in their stores because they know it sells. And one of my homies at the time, he was going to school for business. And he graduates and he can't find work, right? So he's like, yo, fuck, dude, like I just graduated. I can't find work. He's like, you think they'll hire me at your work? And I'm like, they'll hire you, but they're going to pay you minimum wage. I'm like, I can't do that to you. So I end up asking him, like, why don't you help me run this brand? I got this brand on the side. You know, it's like It's my side thing. Help me run it. Like it's already, we're already pushing some numbers. Help me run it. So he comes on board, and we start killing it. Like I'm talking about killing it. You see our stuff everywhere. Disneyland, the airport, wherever we went, different states, like wherever we went, we saw our stuff. And this put another thing in my brain when it comes to partnerships. And this is one of the biggest mistakes that I've ever done in my life when it comes to business. I made him a 50-50 partner. And when people come to me now and they ask me, the first thing I say is, I wouldn't do a partnership, but if I do, make sure that it's not 50-50, And again, like no one told me. It was just one of those things, like you're my boy and you're putting in work while I'm at work. So you know what? You deserve 50%. That shit was all bad. And I'm going to tell you guys in a little bit. The company is growing like crazy. We end up doing, we're doing all the trade shows, Magic, Agendas. And we do one of the shows and we see, we're like right across from another brand. It's like a bigger brand. And we see one of the sales guys for that brand. And that fool's just moving like, yo, we could see it in him. Like he's got it. And I'm like, yo, that's what we need. Because I'm a fucking introvert. Like I like being in the back. I like designing away from the bright lights. I was like, that's what we need. We need someone like that. And it was crazy because he comes, like I think the last day of the show, he shows up to our booth and he's like, yo, I like that fucking logo of yours. Like, who made it? And then I was like, oh, I did it. He's like, yo, that's dope. So then I start telling him a little bit about our brand, right? And he, I said, look, we're kind of looking for someone to sell our brand. Are you exclusive or are you, he's like, yeah, right now I'm working for that brand, blah, 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 but take my number down. You never know. Long story short, some months go by and we end up hiring him, right? He comes on board and he's like, yo, I love what you guys are doing. Matching your T-shirts to fucking, matching your T-shirts to the sneakers, blah, 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 everything. I love it. We're sending them to shows. Everything's dope. Like he's bringing business, right? And we're like up here. We sent him to a show in Chicago, I think. And I sent him samples. He's out in Miami. Rodrigo, man. Shout out to my boy Rodrigo. We sent him to, I sent him samples and they don't get there. They don't get there in time. So he's like, man, don't even trip. Like people already know the freshness. Like I'm gonna take some of these snapbacks that I have. I got the catalog. We're good. Don't trip. So he gets to the show and he takes a picture in front of the booth and it's like all empty, right? And I wish I still had that picture. So I'm like, fuck, man, we just spent all this money on sending this dude over there. No samples. A few days later, he comes back and he's got like $250,000 worth of orders, right? And I'm like, what the fuck? I was just like, oh shit, this motherfucker. Like, he fucking went over there and killed it without fucking samples. So we're like excited. We're like, fuck, that's crazy. That's when you know, like in my head, I'm like, that's when you know, like people know your brand and they don't need to see a sample because they already know what they're gonna get. So he sends the orders in My partner's in charge of, you know, ordering materials, getting the orders ready, scheduling, doing all that. I'm in charge of design, marketing, and all that. Um, we end up shipping 10% of that. All right, 10% of $250,000. And my boy Rodrigo, the only way he got paid was if he brought us orders, which he was just on commission. So you can imagine, you know, how pissed he was. So he's on the phone with me, and I'm like, dog, like, that's, you gotta hit him up. Like, trust me, man, like, I'm pissed off too. You know, ends up leaving. He's like, man, fuck you guys. Like, I'm out. Like, Ness, you cool, but I'm out, man. I can't deal with you motherfuckers no more. You guys are fucking up my money. As he should, right? I was like, man, I felt bad because I knew we just lost the best fucking salesman that we ever gonna get. And he ends up leaving. Then shit just gets weird at the shop. Like, me and him just not getting along. I'm here, he's here. 2013, you know, 2011, 12, we went from being up here doing millions in business to 2013, me having to fire him. But I couldn't take his keys because he was a partner and he would come in every now and then just to, I don't know for what, just, you know, just to fuck with us. And during that time too, like, shit just wasn't right. I was too much focused on the business that wasn't focused with my family. Ended up, you know, separating from my wife. So 2013 was just all fucking bad. I end up firing my partner, but I can't completely get rid of him, right? Because he's a partner. But also that year, I separate from my wife. I'm over here focused too much with the business. I'm not giving my family enough time, my kids, my wife. Problems just start, right? So we end up separating. She moves out. I'm at the crib, and we go from doing numbers up here to not doing nothing, right? And I didn't even want to. I wake up not wanting to design, I didn't want none of this. All the shit you see here, I wanted no part of that. And one of my homies, a younger homie, you know, Ernie, shout out to my boy Ernie, he would come over every day. And he would just, like, he would come to the crib and was like, yo, Ness, you got to continue to design, dog. Like, you have to. You design, I create your websites, and we just get the shit printed. You ship it out. Like, you cannot give up. You know, and you got to understand, like, you're going from a company up here. Like, people were getting our logo tattooed on them. You know, like, the love that people have for this brand, to now I'm over here. Like, we had a fucking shop. I'm telling you guys, when we had a big ass shop, 2 stories. My office was on the 2nd floor, overlooking a golf course. I went from that to working in my garage at the crib in a matter of a year. So you can understand how I'm feeling. And I think if it wasn't for him, like he would show up every day and just say, yo, just continue to design, man. Continue to design. This is what you were meant to do. I think I probably would have quit, you know. And I had other homies that came to the crib, like, you know, people that had my back, you know, my boy Vern, my boy Herman, like, They would come and just kick it with me and make sure I was good. And it took about a year, right? I don't even know how. I wasn't making my house payment. Like I was so out of it. But it took about a year, and then, me and my wife would argue all the time. We stopped arguing. I felt like little by little, I started feeling better about myself. Little by little, I started designing a little bit more. And it took about a year. We ended up getting back together. And I tell her, I'm like, look, like the love I have for you, I fucking love you. But we got to make this shit work. But it put another thing in my brain. I said, you can't always think about the business. You have to learn how to schedule your time. And I think that's super important when you own a business and you have a family and you have kids and you have a wife. You have to learn how to manage your time correctly. So I told her, I said, look, I started this new brand. But let me tell you, like, you're coming back into my life. What I'm going to tell you is I'm not going to just think about my brand, because at the end of the day, us as males, as guys, we want more, but we only want more to make them feel better. And I told her, I said, look, I'm going to do my thing, but there's gonna come a time when I'm going to cut it off, and it's going to be your time, and it's going to be the kids' time. And that's what I did. So in 2014, January 25th, 2014, exactly 50 years after Nike was founded, I founded Retro Kings. And it was probably one of the best things that I've ever done. I'm doing it by myself. If I can't do something, I'm not going to go out there, look for help. And trust me, like, I've had people come in and, hey, let me partner up with you because I know what you're doing. And to this day, I've had to say no to everybody. I want to do this shit by myself. So 2014, Retro Kings was founded. And again, it puts another little thing in my brain when it comes to this whole culture, that you have to be aware, right, when you're building something, when you're making something, because you never know how big it's going to get. And I've been blessed, to work with some of the biggest, chain stores there is in the United States. They see what I have to offer, and I just feel so fucking good, man. It feels so good to have these stores reach out to us and say, we want to carry your T-shirts in our stores, right? And again, like trust me when I tell you, like, I've had celebrities wear my shit, but the best feeling for me is going to a different city and someone's rocking my shit. Like, that's the best feeling ever. So 2014 till now, that's what I've been doing. Just building the brand, designing every day. That's my love. I love to design. And I've even opened up the channels to other people where I design for them. And even my competitors, I'm designing for them, But I love it because at the end of the day, what I create and they're able to sell, that shit makes me feel good. So moving forward, here we are in 2024, and I'm kind of little by little getting away from the production side of running a brand. So I've opened up some free time, and this is where this new platform, this is how this came about. My wife and my homie Vern and his wife, they brought it up to me, and they were like, "Yo, why don't you create a show, and you interview people in your industry, people that you know." And again, like, I don't like being in front of a mic. I don't like the cameras. I don't like the bright lights. I'm in the back. But it was something I had to kind of get out of my comfort zone. And I think at the end of the day, what I want to do is I want to be able to showcase my guests. I want them to bring something to the table, because what I want is I want you guys as the viewers or the listeners to maybe take a little bit of something from what they say or maybe what I say and use it for yourself. So this is why I created Friends of the Program. And it's a new fucking journey of mine. Trust me, like, I'm fucking new to this. Like, trust me, I'm new to this. And I do get fucking nervous still, like, just thinking like, oh shit, I got a podcast to do tomorrow at fucking 3:00. Like, I get nervous. And I'm in the shower fucking thinking about what I'm gonna say. And then when I'm here, I say something completely fucking different, right? But I'm happy I got people like Mike helping me, telling me like, yo, just be yourself. Don't even trip. Like, just be yourself. Just earlier, like, I think earlier I was running out of breath, like just fucking maybe trying to say too much, But I'm happy that I'm doing this. And I've got some people lined up. Trust me, I got people already lined up that are gonna bless me on this show. And you guys are gonna enjoy it. I know you guys will. So with that said, I want to welcome you guys, to my new show, Friends of the Program. And I really hope you guys enjoy it. And when it's up, on the different platforms, please, just reach out to me if you guys want to see something different. You guys, whatever it is that you guys want out of this show, let me know, because again, it's something new. And but I'm excited. I'm excited to try something new and really, get it out there, because I have a lot of people that have something to say, and I think you guys are gonna enjoy it. So with that said, man, thank you guys so much for watching and for listening, and I can't wait for you guys to check out the next one. So thank you, and peace. That's it.